On this week's show, the 8-step guide to setting up and, more importantly, making money from a deal-selling business.
And this week, instead of a news article, we are going to be interviewing somebody who has become financially free through rent to rent.
And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions. Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends. Hi, I'm Russell Leeds.
Hi, I'm Alasdair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. It feels, I don't know why, it feels like it's not very often that we've been doing this together recently.
It feels like a long time since we've sat opposite each other, looking into each other's eyes. Yes, it does, yeah.
Well, we were doing that last night.
Shh.
Oh, okay.
Come on, that's not for the TV.
Ah, right, sorry, apologies. But no, because I did it with Samuel last week.
Yeah.
And then, was it? No, it was just the week before, actually.
Yeah, I missed a week because I was at events and our schedules didn't tie up. So
and then we're like, we've got to lose one of them. Who should we lose? Should we lose the good one or should we lose Alasdair?
Or no, it's more like we've got to lose one of them. Who should we lose? The person that's doing all the work or... Yeah, okay, so... I was running an event, of course. I was at an event. I was at Crash Course.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't do it. So, yeah.
How did it go?
It was good. It was
you
really,
weren't doing
really
a Crash
good.
Course. You were doing infinite returns.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Yeah, because I had literally last week we had 5 days of back-to-back training. So we had infinite returns and lease option boot camp. It went down a storm. They loved it. They absolutely loved it.
You looked really rough when you came in the office on Monday. I didn't want to say anything because, like...
I did. I know I did.
You look so rough.
I was tired, man.
I could tell.
I was tired, bro. But not now. Not today.
You look fresh today.
In all honesty, right? Okay,
this is him fresh, by the way.
This is me fresh. So in all honesty, I started the week infinite returns 2 days, lease option boot camp. Straight from there to a Crash Course, and I was crash course for 2 days, and that took us to Saturday night. And then I went out Saturday night with some friends.
Come on, that's not true.
It kind of is.
You haven't got friends.
Okay, not friends, contacts.
Okay. Acquaintances.
So when I went out and we happened to meet that night. Have you ever met Erykah Badu? Do you know who she is?
No.
Oh, she was in the event where I was at.
Who is she?
She's a singer.
Erykah Badu?
Yeah. She was at where I was at.
Erykah Badu.
I don't know who she is. Apparently she's famous, but Erykah Badu.
Are you sure you were being pranked?
Maybe, I don't know.
Apparently she's famous.
Maybe, I've not Googled it.
Have you ever told on the show about what happened with John Raybould when you went out and you pretended he was a celebrity?
That was so funny. We'll get there in a minute. Okay. But anyway, so I went out Saturday night, had a good night out, just had a bit of a laugh, just let hair down, 5 days training, let hair down. And then Sunday I was just resting, but I couldn't rest, I couldn't sleep because it was during the day. And then, I came into the office and I was very tired, very run down. But here I am, back. I'm alive. I'm good.
But at least you haven't got another Crash Course till tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got another Crash Course tomorrow. So we're good. We're actually going there tonight. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going back to my apartment to get my stuff. And then I'm off because tonight we have got the first of the debut of the Academy-only networking events. Did you remember?
I did.
Yeah, that's tonight. So myself and Ricky are going to open that tonight, and we're going to run that.
Is Anthony going to be
Anthony isn't with us this one because for personal reasons, but he's not going to be with us for this one. So it's going to be myself and Ricky hosting the networking event for Academy members only. So if you're an Academy member, get yourself along to that event. It's a great place to rub shoulders and to network and just have free open sessions with other Academy members that are all doing sort of super well.
The other thing that's happening soon as well, we're not doing a news this week, so we're having to fill it all in now. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's happening is very soon you're going back to your homelands to run a Crash Course. We are. Oh, do you know what? So many people message me and say, when are you coming to Scotland? When are you coming to Scotland? So we're going to be in Scotland on the 13th and the 14th of March. Yeah.
And we're going to be in Edinburgh. So bang in city centre.
A Scottish person running a Scottish Crash Course, teaching the Scottish methods in Scotland. How freaking fantastic is that?
It's going to be pretty awesome, I think. And it's going to be a great event. So I'm going to go up a couple of days before. Because actually, this is news. I don't know if you know about this. But myself and Mr. Mandal and his family are potentially going to be doing a joint venture on a bit of a development project up in Scotland. So nice. I don't know if you knew, but it's news. We've only been speaking about it this morning. So we're going to go up a day before and look at it, and we're going to go and assess it. So that's come from an old family member of mine. So
well, you've got a lot of friends that invest in Scotland, and obviously
I've
you
got
invest in
loads
Scotland.
of friends that have got property in Scotland and land and all sorts. So there's an opportunity to do a bit of a development up there. And we're going to go up the day before, and we're going to go and assess it all, have a look at it all, meet the people, and just see if we can put something together.
Murray, who obviously works in the team, is very excited that we're doing one in Scotland.
I know he is. I know he is, but I'm not going to. But obviously, like, can you imagine Scottish guy on a Scottish stage wearing a kilt?
Are you going to wear a kilt?
I don't know yet.
Did we get the picture of you in the kilt before?
No.
We need the picture of you in the kilt.
I can't find it. I've asked my mum. My mum's got all the photographs. I can't. And my mum's old school, where she's got. Do you know, like? Do you know when you go to your grandmother's, right?
Yeah.
And they bring the box out of all the old-fashioned 6-inch by 4-inch photographs. That's what she's got. She's got to go through all them. To find
I
it.
genuinely believe anyone watching this show would promise. In fact, comment below if you would go to the crash course just to see Alasdair wearing a
I'll tell you
kilt.
what. If the event sells out, I'll wear a kilt.
Book on, please, people.
Sells out,
Please
I'll
book
wear
on.
a kilt. I will.
Okay.
I'm not ashamed of my heritage.
For the whole event.
Not for the whole event,
But for one session of
for
teaching.
the morning,
90 minutes.
So when I first come on, yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
If it sells out, I'll wear a
Please
kilt.
buy tickets. Please buy tickets to the Edinburgh Crash Course, and let's see Alasdair Cunningham wearing a kilt. Please.
I will, because you said kilt, not skirt. Last time you said skirt and offended the whole country of Scotland.
But Alasdair has corrected
luckily,
me.
boys, he ain't coming, right?
Alasdair has corrected me. Oh, well, if you're wearing a kilt, I will.
I'm sure
Alasdair
you
has
will.
corrected me. It is not a skirt. It's a military dress.
Yes, yeah.
I'm aware of that now. I'm good. I've got
Right.
my Scottish heritage base. Right, brilliant. So
Okay.
this week, obviously, we're going to be interviewing someone who's actually here from Rent
Yes.
to Rent later on, who you keep pointing at and going, Rick, so I think they know who it is.
who it is,
You're as
I
bad
don't
as
know.
that person from EastEnders. Ricky. I can't.
Dean Gaffney. Dean Gaffney.
Is it?
Was that Ricky?
I think you're thinking of someone else. Did you watch EastEnders, Pav?
I don't watch EastEnders. I've not watched it for a long time. But who was Ricky? Oh no, that's
There is definitely a Ricky.
Yeah. Bianca.
Bianca! That's
Ricky!
it. So, anyway, so we're introducing him later on. But first of all, we're going to be going through a brief overview. And the plan is brief overview today of the step-by-step, basically, guide of how to set up a successful deal sourcing business.
More importantly, how to make money from it as well.
Well, of course, if you're not making money from it, it's not successful, is it?
Well, some people measure success in different ways.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like the way you measure yours, and you're like, oh, it is 6. And I'm like, it's not. And, it's the way you measure it, isn't it?
It's actually 8.
Oh, whatever. so let's go through the 8-step guide, and then over the coming weeks, we're going to delve into a bit more detail on how it exactly works.
Yeah.
So, 8 steps. Number 1 is...
Set up. Okay, so you have to make sure the business is actually set up correctly. I advise anyone that's wanting to do sourcing to set it up in a limited company.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise you to do it in your personal name. So always do it in a limited company.
Very brief, because we want to get through all 8 points. So limited company.
Limited company.
Compliant.
All your compliance side of things. So you need to make sure you're registered for anti-money laundering. You need to make sure you're registered for data protection. You have the proper insurances in place. You have to have all your terms and conditions and your legal paperwork. You have to have policies and procedures. So what happens if this? What happens if that? So it's essentially limited company. Bank accounts. You have to have a everyday trading account with in business. You also have to have a client account. Anti-money laundering, data protection, insurance, member of the PRS scheme, so property redress scheme or the property ombudsman, one or the other, you don't have to be both, and legal paperwork, legal framework in place.
Cool.
So that's essentially how you set it up. Obviously, there's more detail to it. It's not a case of just doing that. There's more, but we'll get into that over the next couple of weeks.
Brilliant. So set up, be compliant, get it set up, limited company. Great. Yeah.
Next is you have to understand how you're going to offer your deals. Okay, so you need to have an idea of how you're going to go out and you're going to find deals, okay? How then do you offer them to your investors? How do you put them out to your investors? How do you market them? How do the investors get in touch with you? So you need to know how you're going to offer your deals.
Yeah, okay, cool. It's really important.
So important. People think they can go out and just find some deals, and then suddenly an investor is going to come to them on the street and say, hey, you're a sourcer, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'll give you some money.
Or they just spam people on Facebook.
Yeah, or they spam. They just constantly message people on Messenger. Like, how many times you get a friend request on some sort of social media, and then suddenly they're trying to sell something to you because they see you're an investor and they're trying to flog to you. That's such a backwards and old school way of doing it.
It's like cold calling.
It's cold calling.
Yeah. The
way I work is I've trained my investors to expect deals from me. That's why they sell like that. They don't hang around. They sell like that.
So set up, offer your deal. Next.
Understanding. You have to have an understanding of what your investors are looking for. So know where they're coming from. So build a demographic of your investors. Who are they? What are they looking for? How much are they looking to invest? Are they working professionals? Are they working class? Are they millionaires? Are they doctors? What are they? Who is your main target demographic? Once you know that, you can then target your marketing to suit them. So you need to understand, and also you need to understand what deals they're looking for. Are they looking for HMOs? Are they looking for buy, refurbish, refinance? And then you can categorize
And how much money
them.
do they want to put into a deal?
Yeah.
What ROI do they expect?
The thing is, I'm dealing currently with about 7,500 investors, okay? And every single one of theirs criteria is very different. So when you join my mailing list, we have a load of drop-down menus, tick what you want. And we can categorize them into what they're looking for, how much money they've got to invest, who's looking for buy, refurbish, refinance deals, who's looking for HMOs, who's looking to put money in and then get all their money out.
What do you make?
Like
what do you make of people that say, "Well, my target market is everyone"?
Then they're idiots.
They're
idiots. They're idiots because how could it be everybody? Are you really targeting my 16-year-old daughter to buy houses? Come on, you're an idiot. If you genuinely think that, you'll never be successful in business. That's
And the other thing
reality.
is as well is that it's your target market. If other people fall into it and buy off you as well, brilliant. But who are you targeting?
But then if you're targeting everybody, you're just like a headless chicken.
Yeah, I agree.
You're just running around like a headless chicken. It's like me, like I can't even think of an example. It actually really winds me up. It's like me trying to say, like, got a Porsche, yeah? It's like me trying to target everybody to buy a Porsche. But
whereas you're actually after
people who can
midlife
afford
crisis, balding, slightly tubby overweight. What?
Slightly overweight. Okay, so
slightly overweight, balding.
And I'm not 40, motherfucker. I'm 37.
I'm not describing you.
Of course you're not.
I'm describing the Porsche demographic.
Oh, okay.
So sort of midlife crisis, slightly tubby, little bit. I'm not talking about you. Maybe Hugo Boss wearing that type of twat.
In fairness,
yeah,
Hugo Boss sponsor Porsche.
Well, there you go.
So I've got a pair of Hugo Boss jeans.
Of course you have.
I've got a Porsche.
Are you wearing a Hugo Boss top now? Oh,
I
you are.
am.
Do you know Porsche should market to you? If they did, you'd probably buy.
I tell you would, mate. But they do through Hugo Boss. So you can buy a whole brand of Porsche branded Hugo Boss. I've got most of the jeans. Anyway, so you need to understand who you're marketing to. So don't just market to everybody because it's going to cost you a fortune. And most of these people, I would say 95% of them are never going to buy off you.
Agree. So set up,
offering, understanding. R is for research. You have to be a don at doing research. And that's research into your client to know what they want. That's research into the property to know the property stacks up and everything works on the property. The last thing you can do, and this is a point further down, is ruin your reputation by selling a dodgy deal. A deal that doesn't particularly stack up. So I've all the people that work in my business, all the people that are co-source for me, my staff, the management in my company, we will not pass a deal if it does not stack up, and I personally wouldn't buy it.
You've got a comprehensive checklist, haven't you?
Yeah, very comprehensive.
And it's like you got to check this, you got to check that, bam, bam, and it's like pages and pages and pages of A4, which is really good.
So you need to be able to be a don at research.
People say to me, someone asked me this last week actually. I don't know if I'll put it on the show or if I just messaged them back, but they said, "How can I be a deal source in the UK while I live abroad?"
I know he keeps messaging me as well.
Does he?
Yes, asking to have a phone call, and I'm like, okay, I'll send it. I've sent him the details this morning to speak to Max.
I said to him,
were you speaking to him on LinkedIn?
Pest at Alasdair. That's the best.
Was it on LinkedIn?
No, I didn't say that. What?
Was it on LinkedIn?
No.
Oh, okay. So
probably someone else.
Okay, cool.
But so that's the question. And my advice, Samuel's advice to them, I think it's the answer on the show. Samuel's advice was just deal source in your own country.
Yeah.
Most places work. Unless you're living in somewhere that doesn't work for property investors.
For instance, right, in the US, they call what we do wholesaling.
Yeah.
But there's no regulation at all. It's far easier. Right? And I can imagine in other countries, it's far easier. It's only UK that over-regulate everything and make everything difficult to do. Honestly, you go to... Can you imagine, where's this guy from?
I don't know.
I'm speaking to a guy at the minute from Abu Dhabi. He wants to do deal sourcing. The regulation in Abu Dhabi will be nowhere near as strict as it is here. It just won't be.
Yeah.
Because we have a habit of making everything complicated in our country. We do. That's the reality. Okay, what was the next letter?
So we've just done research, but the point is that if you live abroad, it's hard to do your research properly, isn't it? It is harder.
Oh, in the UK.
If you're living abroad, try and do it in the UK,
course,
because how can you need to go... I don't buy the people that say you're a laptop deal sourcer.
Nah, it's rubbish. Utter rubbish. Like, to be good at deal sourcing, you got to have boots on the streets. You got to be out looking at property. You got to be meeting people, meeting agents. All these people that say they've got this laptop lifestyle of deal sourcing, then quite frankly, I don't believe that. I don't buy that one bit.
Unless you've got staff that do it for you.
There's yeah, okay, let's move on. C stands for clients. Sourcer. So at the end of the day, you don't do this, you're going to be broke financially. There's no two ways about it. Unless you can master finding investors, clients, you're never going to make any money from this business. And all you'll be doing is constantly looking at houses. That in itself is a whole show, by the way, just to find investors.
Each one of these points is a whole show.
I could talk to you forever about how to find investors. But essentially...
I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it? You find the two things you need to find, if you think about it logically, you need great deals and you need investors that are willing to pay for those deals. And you're just the middleman. You're just serving both.
Yeah. The investors, key things to finding good investors is network. You need to be networking like crazy. And I would actually not necessarily say go to property networks. I would start going to business networks. Because when you start talking about deals that are bringing in 15, 20, 25% ROI,
they're like, whoa, I'm lucky if I get 5%.
They're lucky if they're getting
good.
5 or 6.
The other thing is, when you compare to people that invest in a lot of other things, that they're not getting, you would probably get paid twice, don't you? So you're getting the cash flow and the capital appreciation, whereas a lot of them only get paid once.
Yeah. So network, add value. Don't just go in and try and sell to somebody. Master your 20-second pitch. So when you get an opportunity to stand up at a networking event and say why you're there, get that to the point.
Or when we cover this one properly, can you give us your 20-second pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got many, right? Absolutely. But I'll tell you next time.
Okay. So SOURCE.
Exchange. You've got to know how to exchange.
Do you know, that is where a lot of people get stuck.
Yes. So you've got to know how to connect everybody. And if you don't know that, then you're not going to make much money from this business. You need to know how to handle
chicken and egg situation.
Yeah, of course. You need to know how to handle the agents, how to handle the vendors. You need to also know how to position yourself, because most people do this wrong. They go into an estate agent and they say they're buying it. They say, oh, I'm coming to view this house, I'm going to buy it. And then they have that awkward conversation saying to the agent, well, actually, I'm not going to buy it. He's going to buy it. That's an awkward conversation. I've never told an agent I'm going to buy anything, because I position myself at the very, very start of the transaction as myself or one of my colleagues or investors will buy it. So the way I position it is I represent other investors.
But at the same time, you've got that awkwardness of, this is why you need a good client list, which you mentioned earlier. But do I buy it? Do I put an offer in and then try and find an investor? Or do I find the investor and then put the... It's that...
It is an awkward one, but... so now today, we don't have to put offers in, because the estate agents all know what we're doing. And they know that we're very good at it. So they can just tell us how much we can buy it for. Right? But if you've got a situation where you're fairly new to it, you can do an if-would offer. So if I was to offer X, I need to go away and do my calculations and make sure it stacks up. Do you think they would accept it? So if I was to offer £80,000 for this property... So I can go, if I was to offer £80,000 for this property, do you think they would accept it? I need to know the numbers so I can calculate my ROI. And they'll tell you. And it's not a confirmed offer. And then I would go away and I would find an investor for it, marry them up, get my offer accepted, introduce everybody, happy days, boom shaka.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last one, R. No.
Two more.
R
is reputation. It's crucial. I've always been taught, and everything I do is with reputation, right, in mind, because I don't want to ruin my reputation.
Yeah.
And I'm not prepared to ruin my reputation over £2,000 or £3,000 for a sourcing fee. There's lots of unscrupulous, dodgy deal sources out there. It doesn't take much to stand heads and shoulders above these other people. And you see them all over Facebook. They're all over Facebook selling deals that they've not secured. Same agents, same sourcing companies, all selling the same deals. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't really look.
It's quite prolific in the rent-to-rent world, where they're all trying to sell the same rent-to-rent deals, and then one of them will buy it, and somebody's investor will buy it, and then they go on and secure it. I don't do that. We don't do that. And I would say reputation is crucial. And if a deal falls through and it's within terms and conditions, and it's not the investor's fault, give them a friggin' refund. It's just basic business, okay? And it's not worth ruining a reputation over. Obviously, if within the terms and conditions it states that the investor's got to do X, and if they don't do their part of the bargain, and then the deal falls through, then they're not entitled to a refund because they've not stuck to their part of the bargain. So all of my investors get 14 days money back guarantee. So within 14 days, they can go out, they can view it, they can assess it, they can make sure they're entirely happy with it. And if they're not happy, no quibble, money back, come back, just tell me you don't want to go ahead, and they'll get the money back. We've done one last week. It's no big deal. It's no big deal to us.
Do you ever find you get time wasters who keep turning down deals?
Well, then we don't deal with them.
So if you get someone that's turned down a couple of deals, when they're next on the ring up, just go, look, we don't want to sell to you. Because
I pick and choose my investors, and I only pick people that I want to deal with. So that I don't care how much money you've got. If you're a douchebag to deal with or you're problematic, I don't want to deal with you. I don't need to.
We still do the show though, don't we?
I know, we still do. But my point being is, I can send an email and I'll get 50 people message me and say, Alasdair, show me the deal, I'm in. So why do I need to pick and deal with the person that I know is going to cause me problems?
Okay, fair enough.
That's it.
Last one.
Systemization. Systemize the business so that eventually it can become a business and it can still make money when you're not there. Better Source is a prime example. Still makes money even though I'm not running it on a day-to-day basis because I've put systems in place and I've put people in place and programs and everything else to make sure it runs systematically, and I don't have to run it day-to-day.
There you go. There's the 8-step guide. We're going to delve into it in more detail over the coming weeks about how to run a successful deal-selling business. It's now time for this. So pleasure to have Mr. Ricci Mandal on the show.
Oh, man.
This is weird sitting next to you, by the way.
Do you know, it's so funny.
Close.
I was just sat back there watching you two and I just think, is this podcast like a comedy show? You two are just hilarious.
Well, you know, we try. I mean, we don't try. We're just natural.
It's natural, isn't it? It's
hilarious.
just natural. So you're a funny guy.
Sometimes.
Yeah, not that often.
Not as funny
Not
as
all the time. It's not a full-time job for me like it is you two.
full-time job.
The funny, someone said to me like, "Oh, do you script your shows?" It's like very, very much not. No, could you not tell?
We've never had a script before. We rarely have anything on here apart from a laptop.
So, Ricci, tell us a bit about your start and your journey. So, when did you? Because you met us through the Property Investors Crash Course.
Yep.
Which you guys need to book onto the Edinburgh one. See this man in a kilt, please.
We'll put a link.
Book
See you in Edinburgh,
onto
boys.
Edinburgh Crash Course. Anyway, man, I want to see you in a kilt. That sounds weird.
I don't know if I do.
Not like that.
Not because I'm traditional. You know what happens with traditional Scots, don't they?
Well, you won't want to prove that I was right about the 6 here. Anyway, so you came to a crash course. When was that?
That was in August last year. No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
A year and a half ago.
I remember the day. That was at the Radisson in Heathrow.
Yeah.
And then
You came with your family.
and then you joined the academy, which you probably finished about 6 months ago. now?
Interesting. Before we go any further, he come to the August crash course. His sister Kiri came to a crash course about 6 months prior to that.
Yeah, she came
and
to one
said,
before.
you need to come to the crash course.
And then I was like to my dad, I'm going to go to this crash course with my sister, and you guys need to come as well.
So he brought his whole family.
And then you joined the academy.
Yeah.
And Ricci was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
He still is.
I
but
still
yeah.
am.
No, he definitely
what do I mean was?
He definitely was a pesterer, wasn't he? You were somebody that just wouldn't give up.
Do you remember I turned to you and I said, he's either going to be really successful on here or he's going to just fizzle out and be like a broke loser.
Yeah, you did. You said he's either going to be super successful, he's going to be one of these people that become your best friend and then become your haters.
Yeah,
because he was start slagging us off online.
I'm in the best friend stage at the minute.
Yeah,
at the minute. Screw him. So you then you took a big part in rent to rent.
Yeah.
Tell us about the rent to rent deals that you've got.
Yeah. So I've got 2 in Milton Keynes at the minute. I'll go through one of them. One of them is a 1-bedroom apartment. That was the first one I got. That's 1-bedroom apartment. I pay on it £995 a month rent. And I charge on average about £120 a night, as a nightly rate. And the average occupancy in Milton Keynes is around 80% for this.
You get more than
one.
that, though, don't you?
Yeah, I get about between 85 and 90,
Yeah.
because followed the systems that you guys teach and that I've been taught, and I get good reviews and I get returning customers from offering stuff like promo codes and having my systems in place. So I have a slightly higher occupancy rate. Yeah.
But you actually don't manage it at all, do you?
I've only been to it 3 times. My first one I've been to 3 times.
You've got a management company.
That
you just sort of say, "Oh, do that," and you could monitor but don't do anything.
Yeah, I have to weigh up, like, do you want to work it as a job? Because if you don't do it right, it will be a job.
Yeah.
You're going to be working day or night, getting stuff sorting out the cleaning, letting people in and out. So I'd rather pay a management company a percentage of my income and just be completely hands off.
Yeah.
So the income's completely passive.
The funny thing is, though, when you do rent to rent like that and you use a management company, you kind of like, you're not doing anything. You don't own it.
No.
You don't.
You just benefit.
You just benefit from you being the one that sets it up.
Somebody said a few weeks ago, because I've always said rent to rent is very hands-on. It's not passive.
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody said, why is rent to rent, if it's been managed properly, different to like a HMO to be managed properly?
Yeah. It's good.
Do you remember that?
It's a very good
It's
point.
a very good point. The reason why I say it's hands-on is because the way we teach is we teach everybody when they first do rent to rent to do everything yourself.
So you get it.
So you get it. So you get the systems. So that's the bit I mean about it being hands-on and not passive.
There is a slight difference.
When you manage it, when you give it to a management, you don't do anything there.
No.
I'll go as far as say you're actually quite lazy when it comes to that side of things. Because you don't do anything.
I wouldn't say I'm lazy.
No, but
I
in the
put the
sense
right
of
systems in place to be able to not have to do anything. Because I don't want to do anything.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. Okay, smart.
I think smart's better than lazy.
All right, smart.
Do you know there is a difference though? There is a difference between rent to rent and traditional HMO. Because you are not the landlord, so you're also having to deal with the landlord. Because you're the middleman.
Yeah.
When it's your own property, you're not answerable to anyone. It's yours. Right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing rent to rent, you're responsible to the landlord and you're responsible to the
But the way you've done it's actually really clever. Because most people, again, the way we teach, everyone does it. You should do it yourself for the first 6 months at least.
Yeah.
Get to know the systems, get to know how it works, get to know the patterns that happen and the habits that people have when they come to take your property. And you don't have to worry about that because you've got involved with a management company like from the offset.
Yeah.
Which is very clever.
Yeah.
It's very, very clever. So well done on that. So you've got a couple of properties around Milton Keynes, and I would go as far to say is that you're partly responsible for Milton Keynes becoming saturated with service accommodation.
Yeah, I think so. Because at the courses, every course, I share my story and stuff, which I'm really grateful for. I come to the courses, share my story, and so many people are ringing up the agents there. And I went to meet with my agent about 2 weeks ago. I went to have a coffee with him and just kind of catch up and see if he's got anything on his books, And
I know, hold on, let me just interrupt. I know the agent sort of said to him, dude, will you stop telling everyone Milton Keynes is a good area for service accommodation?
Yeah, he did.
Because they're flooding them. They're opening up all the time.
So what happens is he gets a lot of people that ring. He was saying to me, they get a lot of people that are ringing up the agencies, but they're doing it wrong because they haven't been educated. They're doing it wrong. So what's happening is they're ringing up these agencies, and then the management of the agencies is saying, hold on, we're getting so many phone calls about this, taking up so much time, we're thinking of not even doing it anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll take a little bit of responsibility for Milton Keynes like that. So I'm probably now going to move on to another area. I've been looking at other areas already.
Yeah, I know you are.
I put in some offers and stuff, and I'm just getting some stuff in place, but I'm probably going to leave Milton Keynes and go to somewhere else now.
You're going to keep your properties in Milton Keynes?
Yeah, I'm going to keep them there. Yeah, I'm just going to stop because I sell a lot of properties from Milton Keynes as well. So I'm probably going to find a new patch.
Yeah, but obviously while they're making money, you'd be an idiot to give them up.
Yeah,
while they're making cash flow. No. So roughly, how much profit cash flow are you making from the properties? Just roughly.
Right, each one's between an average month's about 600. Really good month's about 1,000.
Yeah.
A bad month's maybe 500.
So you're making 1,500 to $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Easy. Now I know like certain times of the year when like the Formula One's in town, your room rates go up to £300 a night.
See, here's the thing that a lot of people get wrong. They don't plan ahead. So with me, I looked at when I first got it. I said, okay, let me look at from. I got it in. It was about December time. So I said, okay, let me look from December till December. What's going on in a year?
Yeah.
And there was Silverstone in July. So I set up my rates for the whole year. So during Silverstone, it was like July 14, 15, and 16. But look, the average rate in Milton Keynes was about £600 a night.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought, I don't know. I wanted to make sure I got them secured. So I put it at £450 a night, and they got booked straight away.
Yeah.
So 3 nights, I got £450 a night for 3 nights.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier on, I did tell everyone you were coming on before you actually came on. I pointed to you. We've been out looking at a couple of developments this morning. We're doing a joint venture in Bedford. So I know rent to rent is your thing. That's what you started on. But rent to rent for you, from my understanding, was to generate cash and to get you passive income, to get you sort of making financially free. So what do you... What's your plans for yourself? And obviously you're involved in this with your family. Yeah. And they're a lovely family. They're very well organised. And they do it all together. So what's the plans for that?
We're looking at joint ventures. Like we're looking at joint venture review. We're doing buy, refurb, refinance. That's what we're focusing on now. Buy, refurb, refinance, and some developments. For us, I mean, the long-term plan is we want to make sure that everyone in my family is financially free, and we have a business that we can pass down from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. Now the good thing is, because of going through the whole academy process, it's like we know how to do rent to rent. We've got a sourcing business that sells deals. We know how to do sourcing. We're doing buy, refurb, refinance at the minute. We're doing a joint venture. We're looking at developments. When you've got all these tools, really, in the long term, there's nothing stopping us from doing anything. We just want to do as much as we can, build a big portfolio, and keep a legacy in property that we can just pass down.
Cool. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously you joined the academy. Now the academy we often describe it as like a toolbox, i.e. we teach you all the strategy, but we don't do it for you. No. You've got to go and do it.
Yeah.
Some people are really successful, some people don't do it and aren't successful.
Yeah.
What do you think made you become one of the successful people? What would you say were the key traits that you have, and the other people that you've been around a lot of successful people that have been through it, people like Anthony and whole host of people that went through it at the same time as are doing deals. What's the difference between someone that is successful and someone that isn't to you?
I think the difference is it's all about problems and objections. So I find people that aren't going to be successful and that aren't successful, they get to a problem and it's like coming to a puddle and they just jump in the puddle. They jump in the puddle and then they love it. They love problems. But being around successful people and myself, I know that when I got to obstacles, like I had a lot of objections, I had a lot of problems, and it took me a long time to get even my first deal. But I just broke through them obstacles. And I didn't dwell on it. It's easy to get to a problem and say, this is going to be a problem. What are we going to do? Maybe this isn't going to work. And then, a week later say, it don't work. I just powered on through and made it work. Whatever it takes. Literally whatever it takes.
So just resilience.
You've
just follow the system and just do it.
Yeah, because I was taught and being taught, and I still, learn every time from people that are doing it. And as long as you follow in successful people's footsteps, then you're going to get problems, but they've done it, so why can't you? You've just got to duplicate what you've been taught. And at some point it will work. Everyone's going to have problems, but it's just whether or not you quit. It's whether or not a problem's big enough for you to say, I'm out, and it doesn't work.
I find a lot of people jump on the whole blaming bandwagon. Like they say, it's all right for you because you're doing this, and they jump on the whole just because they've not maybe got success. Like you come to Rent Revolution, which is one of the academy programs, and there's been so many people gone on from that same program. Like they've done really well. I can name loads of people that have come to that program. They've gone out, they've implemented the strategies, they've got rent to rents that are up and running, successful, making the money. But then you've got other people that come, and then all you seem to get from them is the problems, negativities, it doesn't work, it doesn't do this. It clearly does work, because we've got yourself, we've got many, many success students. And rent to rent is not a new thing, it's just people have started training it. So I think you're right. A lot of people jump on the blame game of, it's not going to work for us because of X. They're always looking to blame something else for their
there's a prime
lack
example,
of success.
like a lot of agents, I'd probably say, I don't know, maybe 75 to 8% of agencies that you call for rent to rent don't do rent to rent.
Yeah, but hold on. I know when you first started this, how many phone calls did you make?
161.
Yeah. So when I get people message me and say, rent to rent doesn't work, we're struggling with agents, I say to them very simply, how many phone calls have you made? And they go, 20 or 30, and I'm like, keep going. You've still got another 100.
But that's an example of a problem and an obstacle that people come across. But when you make 30 phone calls to agents and all of them say, no, we don't do it at the minute, a lot of people say, it don't work. But it does. You just got to follow in other people's footsteps that have done it and keep going.
The other thing is when they say 20 or 30, that actually means
10.
Yeah. I was going to say, unless it's specific, they don't know.
I made 70. Him. 161 before I got the first one.
But I was saying the wrong things. I wasn't doing it right during them phone calls until I went on the program.
That's because you tried to get ahead and you tried to do it before you went on the program.
I was eager. He was eager, wasn't he?
I was, but it is a good thing. But the problem is, if you're like, I was just doing rent to rent. I didn't. thankfully I didn't kind of lose any money doing that stuff. But it's easy to lose money if you're doing it without the education,
well,
right?
Thank God that some of them maybe didn't say yeah. Because if they had said
Exactly.
yes, you might have ended up with a crap deal.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
We've seen this before. We've seen this. We had a student come to the crash course. Was so eager to get out there and get on with it that he was booked on to come to the deal finding extravaganza, which is where we help you find your patch. We help you do thorough due diligence on your deal. And he went out and he bought a couple of HMOs in between the crash course and the deal finding extravaganza. Now, during the deal finding extravaganza, he literally said, "Hold on, guys, I've got to make some phone calls." So we're like, "Okay, what's going on?" He went out and he actually pulled out of a couple of deals because he realised he hadn't done his due diligence properly. So he was a little bit of an eager, motivated buyer, but not an educated buyer. And that saved him a lot of money. That saved him a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
So thankfully, you didn't secure the deals before the rent-to-rent revolution.
Yeah.
You come, you learn how to do it properly. You learn how to check things like the head lease to make sure that it's legal and compliant. And you went ahead, you've done
Yeah.
it. You're now making between £2,000 and £3,000 a month.
I
That's
think the
more than you
biggest
were
thing-
making as in your previous income.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me was, it's not, what I loved about it was, like, the rent revolution was, we're going to show you how we do it. Like, don't tell me how you do it. You can tell someone how to do something all day long, but you're physically showing people how it's done. And when you show people, they learn better, they take in more information, and then they implement it.
What's that Chinese proverb? Do you remember? Do you remember the Chinese proverb?
There's lots, isn't there?
I know, but there's one that says, when you listen... See, what is it? When you listen, you
I know
take
what
in
one you're
some
on
of
about, I
it.
can't think of
When
it.
you observe it, you take in more of it. But when you do it, you take in all of it.
Yeah, something like
Something,
that.
it's along them lines. It's along them lines.
Yeah.
Basically, the example is, if someone's going to cram you full of information, you take in a small percentage of it. But if you actually sit down, get on your computer, and actually do it, you're going to be a lot more successful.
Yeah.
And that's the way we teach. You actually do.
And one of the things I love about Ricky is, giving up his own time, even after he'd done it, he was successful. He would, free of charge, he used to come along to the crash courses and advise people and help out, just because he cared about what we were doing. He saw how it was changing lives. And he just wanted to be a part of that, which was great.
Yeah.
And you did the same.
Yeah.
Because you went through the academy. You did the
Went through
exact
the
same
academy.
thing.
I went to, I would say, and obviously now I'm partner in the business, I'm a lot more involved. But for the whole of pretty much the whole of 2018, I went to every crash course, every training event at my own expense, completely. I never submitted an expense receipt. I never said, "Dude, you got to pay me to come to this."
Yeah.
Never once. And you've done the same. And that's
Yeah.
we teach a lot about serving before you sell.
Yeah.
So coming, giving back before you actually say, "Guys, come on, can you cover my
Yeah.
whatever?" And that now you're working within the business, you're helping out, you're coming to the events, you're doing welcome backs, you're doing a little bit of assistant at the events, which is amazing.
And you know what? I just thought what made me do it was the value that I got from you guys and the environment I was in. I didn't want to leave that environment. I was almost scared to leave that environment, which is why I wanted to come and help out and be around it. Being around, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around, which is why I wanted to keep on coming back. And yeah, I do believe in, I believe in giving value back, and give and helping others.
I mean, we've tried to shake him off, haven't we?
We've tried, man.
There were a couple of times.
He's a bit of a linebacker. We've tried to shake him off a few times.
Yeah.
Linebacker, but we can't. We love him. We love him, man. We love him.
Thanks ever so much for coming on the show, Rick. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
And look forward to obviously you at the networking thing tonight with the Academy guys. And look forward to seeing you soon at the crash course as well.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for having me.
No worries at all.
guy.
Right, it's now time for this. Okay, so it's now time for the question and answer session. Best place is to post them on our Instagram. Mine is at Russell Leeds. His is
at Alasdair_Cunningham. I need
you
to
go.
make that shorter somehow.
well, how can you do it? It's just your name.
I know, but
Scotland. Why did you put the underscore
I
in?
didn't. I don't know how it happened.
What do you mean? Because you choose your own name.
Do you?
Well, not when you're born, but you do on Instagram.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You know I'm not tech savvy.
All right, so let me go first. So this is from Johnny Peters. He says, "Hi guys, seems like things are hotting up and the market is starting to move again. What do you think will be the next strategy to emerge over the next few years? And do you think Brexit will boost the economy and revitalise seaside towns again? Kudos, guys."
Do you know, there's I was reading an article a couple of days ago. A lot of the seaside resorts are getting a lot of regeneration. There's a plan rolling out in the next 20 years to regenerate a lot of seaside resorts to try and get people to holiday back in the UK. So,
well, it makes sense with service accommodation.
Yeah, I mean Blackpool's obviously getting a lot of regeneration, but I think that needs a lot. That's going to take a lot. Blackpool's still. Do you know? I was reading an article all day. Blackpool's still not recovered from 2008 recession. You know that, don't you? The prices in Blackpool apparently are still the same prices as were in 2008.
So it's probably a really good time to buy.
It's a good time to buy, yeah. I do think in Blackpool in 10, 15 years it's going to go up. But there's so many in Blackpool. There's so many options for lease options, buy, refurb, refinance. I know there's a lot of there's areas of Blackpool where you cannot get finance. You can't get a mortgage. You won't mortgage them in certain areas. But yeah, I think it's a really good area if you're looking.
What strategies coming years do you think are going to be popular?
Well, buy refurbish is always going to be popular. Always. I don't think that's going anywhere. I actually think HMO is going to be around for some time as well. I don't think that's going anywhere because people need affordable, convenient living.
Or like rent to buy.
Rent to buy, rent to buy. Delayed completions, things like that are going to be very popular.
Because people are very into
owner occupied.
Yeah, people are very into that. I think that might come in. All right, cool. So I hope that answers your question, Johnny. Yeah, with Brexit, Sorry?
Who knows? I don't know what's
going on. I think I think there's some certainty. I think it's going to go up. I agree. I think it's
I think for the short term, prices are a little bit stagnant at the minute. They're not really doing. They are
moving. They're moving a lot now.
They're going to start moving.
Every time we do this show, when we didn't do news this week, it's you reading the same news, which is house prices are on the up. It's booming. Right, Ian Richards, he says this. Hi guys, I've been offered a deal, which is a combined bridging loan and then auto refinance after 3 months, but the cost seems quite high. If I did a straight buy to let and then refinance it again, is there a time limit as the early termination costs are less than the bridging mortgage option?
That's a good question. However, it's not the best way to do it. If you do a buy to let, you're obviously delayed on how quickly you can refinance without adding value. Obviously you're better buying cash or bridging. Now, you have to weigh up exactly what he's done. He's weighed up how much it's going to cost him in finance. For instance, let me just tell you. So I'm buying a deal, a joint venture in Bedford, and we've got bridging finance getting sorted for that. It's 210,000, so we're going to get a 90% bridge because it's so much below market value. And the total interest I'm going to pay on that, or if I take it for the full 12 months, is about 20,000. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot of interest. But it's obviously done month by month, so if I pay it back sooner, I'll save money. However, I wouldn't be able to do it on a buy-to-let and then flip it onto... so I wouldn't be able to do it on a buy-to-let and then remortgage because of termination fees. I just wouldn't be able to do it. So it depends on the deal very much so. It very much depends on
it's
the
actually
deal
quite a pain with the... I've always found when you just buy-to-let and then trying to remortgage, it's often very complicated and time-consuming. I would lean towards... But it depends. If you don't need to pull the money back out...
Yeah.
So then it's certainly safer.
Yeah.
Because you're just buying it and then down the line, or if you like, it depends on how much of a rush you are. But if you're doing it as a buy refurbish type deal,
and it's a tight deal, yeah,
I would lean towards the bridging.
3 months seems quite quick as well for bridging for finance. Seems very quick to do a refurb. I mean, obviously you've done your numbers and you've done your due diligence, but it does seem quite tight.
But you wouldn't be able to do it that quick if you were doing it on a without bridging, or without.
You wouldn't
cash.
be able to, 100%. Yeah, perhaps shop around, see if you can get cheaper bridging, and then just work it. Well, you got to weigh up if there's enough profit in the deal. If there's a lot of profit in the deal,
I'm not too bothered about paying high bridging if I'm going to make good profit.
If I'm going to make, I'm the same as like this house I'm buying in Bedford. I mean, we're buying it for 210. It's worth 350 today. Yeah. It's like today is worth 350.
What's 20 grand interest to get all it sorted?
It happens quick. What's this? Nothing. Yeah, you could make another 20 grand if you messed around, but then I want to do it quicker.
Often though, when you mess around, it ends up costing you more. People I know that are trying to be tight and and then it's like, crap, I can't pay back. Oh, and now I need to get this emergency bridging, and it's like
it's all lastminute.com costs more money. Anything you have to do lastminute.com costs money.
True.
Yeah,
very true. We'll leave it at that. Guys, thanks ever so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to subscribe. Please do not forget to book onto the Edinburgh Crash Course.
Get yourself booked on to the Crash Course, www.property-investors.co.uk. I will see you in Edinburgh, 13th and 14th of March. Also, make sure you follow Russell on Instagram and what's your address?
Just Russell Leeds.
Just Russell Leeds. And follow me at Alasdair_Cunningham. Pav will put the links below. Make sure you follow us, keep up to date, get your questions in on Instagram and also on YouTube. And where else?
Podcasts, subscribe, Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify.
Please show us a bit of love.
Yeah,
we need it. We feel so insecure.
Yeah, we're feeling a bit insecure at the minute.